Hello everybody, today I'm going to share with you my iBook G4. This is a 12-inch mid-2005 model with a 1.33 GHz PowerPC G4 processor, half a gigabyte of RAM, 32 megabytes of video RAM, a 40 gigabyte hard drive, and a CD-DVD combo drive. This 12-inch model, as with the other 12-inch models, has a screen resolution of 1024 by 768. This is also the last model of iBook, the 12 and 14-inch model, made before they were replaced by the MacBook in 2006. So let's go ahead and take a look around the machine. At the top of the computer screen we find our latch, which goes into a hole in the bottom, which we will look at a little bit later. On the right side of the screen we find a pinhole here, which is for the microphone. Moving our way down the screen and to the middle, we find our iBook G4 logo. On either side of the bottom keyboard portion here, we will find our stereo speakers and of course our power button. Here we also have our full-sized keyboard, which you can bring up using these latches here. There's a locking one right there, and there's another latch right there to access RAM underneath. Here we have our two-finger scrolling trackpad, and below that we have our latching mechanism, which goes with the latch above the screen, which gets pulled into this hole here with a magnet. On the right side of the machine we will find our ComboDrive as well as our charging port. On the left side of the machine we will find our vent. We have audio out. I don't know if it also works as audio in. It might, but it's audio out. We have mini VGA out, two USB 2.0 ports, and one of them is filled with a little tiny Wi-Fi dongle, as this model is one of the models that has a Wi-Fi card problem. So that's easy to fix. Just put a little dongle on it, as I did here, and it works just fine. Of course, we have a FireWire 400 port, Ethernet, modem, and a Kensington lock port as well. On the top or back of the screen we find our light up Apple logo, more ventilation at the back of the computer, and on the bottom of the machine we will find our replaceable battery. Simply put a coin into the locking mechanism here, turn it to unlock, and the battery will come right out. Of course, we also have the nice feature of showing how much the battery is currently charged. Here we have the original Apple power supply for this machine. As you can tell, it has a very similar design to the ones of today, minus the fact that it does not have a MagSafe connector on it, but that was not introduced until the MacBooks of 2006. So here, with this style of connector, you can see a little translucent ring there, right there, and that would light up orange when charging and green when fully charged. Of course, you just simply take the connector and plug it directly into the machine so it can charge. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn on the iBook. It takes a while for video and the screen to turn on. They used to always scare me, but it'll eventually come. Even though this machine is over 10 years old, it actually still functions quite well in the applications that it has, and actually browsing the internet through a really great application that we will look at. Okay, so the first thing that I am greeted with, personally, on this computer is the wireless networking utility. And the reason that comes up is because this computer has a defective airport card, and a lot of these mid-2005 models, I don't know if any of the others had this issue, I don't think so. These models had an issue with their airport cards as they were non-replaceable. They were pretty much in the inside. Maybe you could replace it, I don't know. But it wasn't like the earlier models where you could just take out the keyboard and slide a new one in or out. But anyway, an easy way to fix that airport card problem is to just install a little tiny dongle on the side of the computer, and that works perfectly fine. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of this application. Of course, it's still running in the background, so we'll still have internet. Anyway, let's go ahead and go up to the Apple logo here and go to About This Mac. We can see it is running 10.5.8 Leopard, which is the highest operating system that this computer can take. It has a 1.33 GHz PowerPC G4 processor and half a gigabyte of RAM. Now that is only the built-in RAM. You can of course add extra memory to this computer, but I haven't gotten around to doing that yet. But if I did, it would actually help out with all the things that I'm about to show. So extra RAM in these machines does help. But for here, right now, I only have half a gig, which is the built-in memory. So we will get out of that. Of course, down here we have our friend of the Finder for all your files and such. Here we have Safari, which is the built-in web browser, and you really only have two good options here. That is Safari or TenFourFox, which is right next to it, right here. That is the best application for PowerPC-based computers, and it runs great. It's actually a Firefox underneath, and they just modified it to run on PowerPC architecture. So here we have the Apple website, their front page here, showing off their new things, and usually it slides between screens, but here I think it's detected that it's an older browser, so it's just going to change them automatically instead of sliding between them. But anyway, websites work just fine on this machine. Let's go to one of the lighting sites. Oop. And we can see that we can scroll through these pages really easily. Right now I'm using the side scroll bar, but let's see, I'm going to leave my mouse there, and we're going to use two-finger scrolling. I know you can't see it, but I'm using two fingers to scroll on this trackpad. You can do that on this model. Of course, it's different than the Macs of today because the newer machines use reverse scrolling, so if you're used to the newer scrolling, you have to remember to do it backwards on here. But anyway, websites seem to still load just fine on this version of Safari. Let's go ahead and see what version it is. I can't remember. Version 5.0.6. Looks like it was supported until 2011. So let's go ahead and quit Safari there. And let's move on over to TenFourFox. This is a web browser that is kept up to date currently and works fantastic with all kinds of websites. Now, one thing that many people are probably wondering is how well does YouTube run on this machine? Well, you've probably seen videos of people saying, it doesn't really work, or it does work and it's really choppy. Well, it actually does work with this application, TenFourFox, and that is if you have the videos at lower resolutions. For example, I was watching some older music videos from probably the 70s and 80s, and that's a lower resolution. And that works just fine. It takes a little while for it to get evened out and smoothed out, but YouTube runs just fine on this machine other than higher quality videos. Then it gets very jittery and sometimes won't load correctly and things like that. It all depends on the video that you are watching and the quality of it. That's really just the truth. It all depends on that. It also depends on if you have Flash Player installed or not. If you have it installed, sometimes it works better. If you don't have it installed, sometimes it works better without it. Of course, Flash Player is not up to date on PowerPC machines anymore either. I think the most up-to-date version is 11 or something, and now we're on like, what, 22 or something? So that's way out of date. Anyway, it's starting to dim down because I'm talking too much, but let's of course go to Apple's website here. And we can take a look at how that works on this web browser. So let's see if it transitions between. It looks like it's trying to. We'll see if it switches over to just, nope, it still just slides between them. So as you can tell, there's a big performance jump from just the old Safari to the up-to-date TenFourFox. Of course, we will also try to, I don't know if it's bookmarked, nope, go to the lighting site. Just a regular, basic internet page here. It's nothing too fancy. Of course, we'll use a scroll bar on the side here. You can see it scrolls just fine. Everything's loading. There's not really too many jitters there. I'm also going to use two-finger scrolling if I do it in the correct direction. And that works just fine as well. There we go. So there you can see that regular web pages load just fine, ones with graphic intense stuff like Apple's website, and just basic web pages, like the lighting sites. And of course, I've already told you the information about YouTube. Anyway, we can find down here, of course, we have iTunes. I can't remember what version it is. It's probably, I think, version 10 or something like that. Anyway, next to it we have Office. This is Microsoft Office 2008 for Mac. Of course, you can also run 2004. So here we have 2004 and 2008. Now the main difference between the two is that, for example, if we're looking at Word, 2004 and below uses the extension doc, D-O-C. Now the modern thing of today is to use the extension of DOCX. That's for Word, for example. You know, Excel also, they added the X at the end. Now, that's still the standard for today. Of course, there's now Office 2016 for the Mac, and that still uses DOCX. And 2008 brought that compatibility with DOCX. So it's actually still up to date, I think, with that newer file format, however longer that will last. Anyway, it works with DOCX files. So let's go ahead and look at two of the most commonly used ones. We have Word here. You can kind of hear the hard drive crunching away there. And there we have Word. Of course, you can type whatever you want. If I'm actually in the field here, it'd probably help if I was actually there. There, whatever. Anyway, once it gets itself all the way loaded, it's a lot easier to type, as you can see. Anyway, let's go ahead and quit Word. It's going to ask if we want to save it. No. Let's go ahead and try Excel now. And here we have our spreadsheet, of course. It seems like the Mac version always likes to have it in this printer view type thing, but of course down here in the corner you can change it to just see your spreadsheet like normal. And of course that works just fine as well. You also get PowerPoint and all those other exciting applications, as you can see here. And of course we also have Photoshop. This is Photoshop CS2. Takes a little time to load, but once it's up and running it works just fine. Of course it's not the fastest thing in the world, but it definitely does get the job done. And there we go, Photoshop is up and running. Apparently I haven't opened it too often because it's still displaying this welcome screen. So we'll go ahead and quit Photoshop there. Now, if you did have the built-in Wi-Fi card still working, I do believe it would still work with all the modern security Wi-Fi systems out there. Of course, with this little dongle I have, it works just fine with all the modern Wi-Fi that I've gone everywhere, and it's been just fine. Usually some machines need an older Wi-Fi base station to work. Can't think of all the technical things off the top of my head, but older machines need older Wi-Fi base stations and older security measures and stuff like that, where this works just fine with all the modern ones of today. So anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this video of looking at how well a iBook G4 runs in 2016. Also, please comment, rate, and subscribe. And thank you very much for watching.